Remembrance Day, lest we forget, is a time to remember the many sacrifices paid by our soldiers to allow us to enjoy the freedoms we have today. It's also a time to take a look at how our society and government treats veterans and their families. So joining me now is Scott Schall. He is the president of the Royal Canadian Legion Robertson Memorial Branch, number 17 in Medicine Hat, and he served in the Canadian Armed Forces for a couple of decades, including deployments to Bosnia and Afghanistan. Scott, great to have you with us. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be out on this time of year.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so Scott, when did you first enlist in the armed forces, and what motivated you to get involved?
Well, it was back in 1988. It was in September. I actually saw a recruiter because I had spent the summer learning what it was like to be an infantryman in Germany with the Canadian Forces. I had just wrapped up 4 year or a 6 year career with the Royal Canadian Army Cadets. It was a great program back then, and it culminated with me being able to go over to Germany for my summer. I saw the recruiter, and it was gone. Joined the armed forces back '88. Served there for 20 years in the regular army. Came back to my hometown here in Medicine Hat, and then did another 12 years with the reserves.
Incredible, incredible. So it all started with the cadets.
It
and
does. It's a
I,
fantastic program.
Yeah, and obviously, as I mentioned there in the beginning, you served some time overseas as well in Afghanistan and Bosnia. Obviously, Scott, war is never something on our wish list, but many believe that it's necessary at times. So, can you talk about the importance of fighting for freedom?
Well, although I've never had an opportunity for fight for freedom, a lot of people choose their own decisions to fight. They have to have their own purposes and their own reasons. I can only tell you that I went over there to make sure that other Canadians wouldn't get hurt. I went to
Yeah.
Afghanistan to make sure that they weren't able to form training camps and have societies that were against our society and allowed our people to be hurt. So I freely chose to go overseas and to make sure that I could do my part to make sure that they weren't able to do that.
So, was it a lot of peacekeeping that you were doing?
I've never been really per se a peacekeeper. I've always served under NATO tours of duty. My tour in Bosnia was very, very close to the end. I was never over there during the fighting. I was actually relegated to other duties here in Canada. I did spend 4 years in Germany at the beginning, waiting for the Iron Curtain to fall. I was actually over in Germany when the Russians gave up and the Berlin Wall came down.
Oh, incredible. I was just going to ask you if you have any stories or memories from any of your deployments that you'd like to share.
Well, it is Remembrance Day, and the biggest thing to do is remember. And I do speak to school children every year when I get asked to go to schools. So I always relate the story of my two friends that were killed overseas. One was Nathan Hornberg, a member that come to us from Nanton. I go and visit Nanton regularly and visit his grave. The other was Mike Hayakazi, who was taken from us just only weeks before we were due to rotate back. So I always try and relegate the stories of those two fine members that we left behind and brought back to remember.
And did that happen in Afghanistan?
My two friends, yeah, they had passed on in Afghanistan. I'd lost several friends in Bosnia as well, not due to combat roles, but for other reasons. And so the ones that hit you the hardest are the ones you were there for. And my two friends in Afghanistan, they definitely had an impact on my life as I moved forward.
Yeah, I'm sure Remembrance Day is just such a whole different day for you, also because you lost friends.
Well, it is. Remembrance Day, I think, is something that veterans have a duty to come back and inform other people of. Just like you're doing here today, trying to get me to tell some stories from Afghanistan, I can tell you that this is the most important part about learning. It's a veteran's responsibility. I feel that we should come back and help you to understand what it is that these people sacrificed.
Yeah. Here in Canada, how well are we doing with younger generations in the remembering department? Do we need to do more to help our kids appreciate the sacrifices made for our freedoms? I know we all, as kids, do the assembly in the gym for Remembrance Day. Do you think that's enough?
I I don't know. That's not for me to answer. I can tell you that I'll do my part to help do that. I myself lead in with just that. When I'm asked to go to a school,
Yeah.
that's what I lead in with. You know, I was like you. I was sitting in the auditorium on Remembrance Day. We cut out the paper poppies. We put up the wreaths. We participated in the writing contests. We recited John McCrae's poem. We did all that. I thought I had a pretty good grip on it. And then I joined the forces and did some time. And then I was actually put into harm's way over in Afghanistan. And when you come back from that, you definitely have a different output. I never had anybody that I knew had died or even been affected in that sort of matter when I was growing up. I thought it was important to pass on to children, still do, that we should pass on to our children that these are some people that had died looking to make sure that you were kept safe. And now maybe you guys can help me remember them. So now I give them an impact by giving them somebody specifically to remember. I never had that. So hopefully future generations of veterans will do the same thing and we can make a better chance of remembering those people that have gone.
Oh my gosh, how impactful for sure. And I'm so sorry for your loss, but I would imagine it does go a long way in the services that you take part in. Now, I noticed that the city of Medicine Hat recently installed a crosswalk painted specifically to honor our veterans. Uh, did that get a good response from the public?
It definitely did. Social media afterwards, despite the fact that there were so few, I mean, it's windy, it's cold, I get it, but a lot of people want to be out there for it or the dedication. But on the social media that immediately following, it was huge response. We've got nothing but positive things from our public here, as I'm sure you do over there in Lethbridge. It's definitely a society that's thankful for the people that have contributed. It's just, I wish that we could do it year round. And this is some one way that we can do that year round. People will see that year round. They'll utilize it year round. It's not just a November thing. Our municipal government is also hugely supportive of this. They were hugely responsive. It went from suggestion and motion in council all the way to being painted in 2 weeks. It was an
Incredible.
extraordinary part of it, and it was actually done by somebody that has nothing to do with the Legion. He was just he was a veteran that just decided to go and canvass city council and do it on his own.
Well, way to go. Way to go, Medicine Hat, for getting on board with all of that and for him to taking that initiative. That's fantastic.
They're terrific people. Veterans come in all shapes and sizes, and they choose how they want to remember, and they choose how they want to support it. And this fella is an extraordinary person. Mr. Ed Devine is just an extraordinary person when it comes to volunteering his time.
Oh, wonderful. Scott, what kinds of needs and challenges are older veterans facing right now?
Older veterans are basically facing the same things that we used to face, or you're traditionally used to say. Age takes its toll. Mobility is a huge factor. Hearing is a huge factor. Heart conditions, all the rest of that traditionally come with service and using your body in that manner for so long. But in the recent years, PTSD and mental issues have come to light, and this is huge for everybody. Thank goodness everybody from Veterans Affairs to any of the support groups to doctors and the health colleges have all signed on, and they're all looking at mental health. This is the big part about what needs to be done and looked at. And I'm happy to say that a lot of people are getting it done because there's such huge support for it.
Hmm. And when people buy a poppy to support veterans, where does that money go?
Well, that money goes into what they call a poppy fund, and each poppy fund is regional. So the monies that are collected from your poppy sales in Lethbridge stay in the Lethbridge Legion area. The poppies that are sold here, their monies stay in the Medicine Hat area, and they go directly into what's called the poppy fund. And it's held so that we can support veterans. We get veterans every week that come in that need help with this. They need to get up to a hospital in Calgary. They need some sort of financial support. They can't make the mortgage payment. They need groceries put into the fridge this month. The furnace has died. It's the middle of winter. They don't have the cash right now. How can you help us? All these functions, if you are a veteran, are available to you through the Poppy Fund. Any veteran that's in need can go and ask, and they'll certainly be accommodated at the best of our abilities.
Oh, that's incredible. And I should correct myself too, because poppies, people don't actually buy poppies. Poppies are free for everyone to wear, but it's more of a donation, isn't it?
It is. It was a means and method of getting people to remember. And so people started giving money, and the donations that we raise in each city is different. I'm happy to say that it's alive and well in southern Alberta. I know that the Lethbridge Legion is always very successful in their poppy campaign. Medicine Hat as well. We're truly thankful that people are willing to remember and that their pocketbooks open up and help out those veterans that aren't able to help themselves right now.
Mm. And we hear about stories of veterans struggling with the post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. So, what would you like to see changed in the way help is being offered to those types of situations?
Um, I think the Legion's in a little bit of trouble because there's so much out there right now in the means of support, especially for mental health. I myself know of 5 organizations that have come out of the woodworks to see if they can work with the Legion in order to increase mental help and mental health or mental resiliency in veterans and in future soldiers. What I'd really like to see is not in a manner of how it's offered, but in a manner of how the veteran actually goes and takes advantage of it. You can always lead the horse to water, but you can't always get that horse to drink. That's where I think the biggest difference needs to be made. There's some financial issues that people are obviously skittish about, but once you get into the water, you realize that this isn't such a big deal, that it's going to be taken care of for you. Their own personal stigmas that they apply to themselves force them to not accept the help when it comes to things like PTSD. While I'm fortunate enough not to be afflicted with it, I know there are several veterans in my own genre or my own decade of service that they're awful skittish towards going towards any sort of mental health. And the first thing I tell you is just go for it. Just get in there, take advantage of it, get fixed. This is what it's there for. There's some financial support that's available through Legion. There's financial support that's available through Veterans Affairs. It's there and it's being offered, but of course you got to ask for it, or it's just not going to do you any good.
Yeah, I could see that being something that would be very difficult for some of them to do, asking for that help when their life has been all about service. And, there's just that old stigma attached to mental health.
It's a lot of self stigma. I myself came back from overseas. I didn't think I had any issues. One morning, I can remember the kids were going to school still. I mean, I'm at a point where they send you away, they fill your bank account with money. They say, go home, reconnect with your family. Awesome option. They still have work, they still have school. They disappeared. I'm sitting in front of the TV with my cup of coffee. Okay, bye, hon. Door closes. The door opens what I think is 5 minutes later. And, well, what'd you forget? What do you mean? I've been gone for 4 hours. You lose time. And so, I immediately sought help for that immediately. There's some people that wouldn't. There's some people that think that there's nothing wrong. And that's the stigma that we need to break down is the self stigma. It's not stigma from anybody else. The worries that you're going to be a coward or you're weak or you're anything else. It's a self stigma.
Scott, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts with us today. Appreciate having you on.
Well, it was a pleasure to be here, and I hope that I was constructive to at least somebody.
Scott Schall is the president of the Royal Canadian Legion Robertson Memorial Branch number 17 Medicine Hat. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks so much for watching.